questions to me now? Or what would I tell? How old should I be? 9? Or should we go younger?
Maybe 7.
7?
Yeah.
Yeah? What was I doing at 7? My little sister would have been 3.5. Yeah. So things would have been difficult at that point. I probably would have been having to be the strong one by that point. You know, my mum was working to keep us in private school. Obviously now I'm like, what was the point?
And why did you say what was the point? Explain that, elaborate on that. I think I know the answer to that, but I think you should elaborate what you mean by that.
Well, because school, I feel, is very much like an indoctrination centre. But my mum was only trying to do her best.
Yes, of course she was. Of course she was.
She was trying to do her best.
I'm not even necessarily talking about mum.
But I would have much preferred to have had my mum around.
I think generally, that's an important point to make. I think people forget. I think right now.
There's nothing more important than the love of a mother and attention and father.
Yeah, and just the presence of them.
The presence.
The presence, not just always the love, but the presence of there. Because you can...
Well, but I think it's more that a child's world is very selfish in the sense that a child will think that it is the reason for everything.
Exactly.
A child will blame itself for everything. If something bad's happening at home, if mum and dad are arguing, the child will be like, oh, it's because of me.
Or if dad's not around, or if mum's not around, or if mum's working too much or going out too much. It depends on whatever. The child cannot separate their own problems from the parents and the parents, the intention of the parents.
Yeah, so that was the setup. You know, dad not around, mum having to do everything. Little sister, so full of beans. You know, my mum being scared that she's going to not have enough money, and me having to be like the strong one. And
what repercussions or what affectations do you think having to be so strong or having to be strong, display strength at an age where strength is still being cultivated? How do you think that has then had a knock-on effect, positive and negative, in your future life?
I'm always a strong one now.
To a fault.
To a fault.
Where it's easy to help others. Not necessarily easy, but it's
what I know best.
It's what you know best. It's what you're great at. But I think, and I can definitely identify that too.
I know how to take care of people.
But is it just your experiences growing up that have made you like that, or what is it that stops you from knowingly changing that if you know it's to a fault?
Well, this is the thing. It's not a case of like I'm not taking care of myself.
Of course not.
If there's one thing I've really dedicated my life to, it's
especially the last 2 years.
Filling in those holes. It's taking care of myself. It's learning that I deserve as much attention as everybody else that I've poured my attention into. Doesn't mean that it always works in all the best ways, but it means that that's definitely something that I am aware of. And it meant that it took a long time for me to realise that I needed to take care of myself. I had to go through a long phase of not even being aware that I deserved my attention the most. And if there's one thing I really feel that any young people watching this need to know, it is that we can blame everyone in our life for everything. And we can point our fingers in every direction and thinking that all of our problems are coming from the outside. But very often, all people are actually doing is triggering an internal feeling. And so if I could say anything to my 7-year-old self, I get emotional. It would be that It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be soft. Because the greatest lesson that you're going to learn in your future, in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time, the greatest lesson that you'll ever learn is that the person that has the greatest strength for you is you. And to hang in there. And that no matter how hopeless things feel, and they will feel fucking hopeless, that it's always temporary, everything is always temporary, and that pain gets transmuted into something that is very, very special, and it's sad, but it's beautiful, and it gives you a depth that you wouldn't have had you not been through that stuff. And this is another thing I also want to say. I don't think you ever get over it. I don't think you ever get over that. You use it as fuel to make your world more beautiful, to make other people's world more beautiful.
Like the rings on a tree. They just add another layer, another density, another.
And it doesn't go, It's like if when people say, about closure. Oh, I want closure on this. Then you just learn to live with it. And it takes a long time to heal.
I think that's maybe a problem with many people is by trying to avoid the pain, you're actually creating more of a void by avoiding it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Creating a void by avoiding it, yeah. A void. Maybe that's probably on purpose, but the point I'm trying to make is
almost definitely.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's the issue. Some people run from their pain as opposed to facing it head on, and not facing it with facing it with neutrality, facing it with an ability to understand it, as opposed to facing it like I have to challenge you. When you say, I think people have different impressions of what taking care of themselves are. Mm-hmm. Could you elaborate on what your opinion of taking care of yourself is, and the different types of taking care of oneself?
I think this is...
Just, you can cut that out. You probably won't. But
I think that people like to overplay this whole thing in their head, like what is taking care of yourself? Taking care of yourself is just thinking. Taking care of yourself is sitting with your feelings. Taking care of yourself is asking yourself, how do I fucking feel about this? Not how should I feel about this? Not, am I supposed to feel this way? Do I feel... It's how am I feeling? And the biggest thing that changed the game for me, as simple as it sounds, is asking myself that question and writing it down. It's so important that we understand that our head, there is a universe inside of our head. The size of the world that is inside of your mind is bigger than this external place by any stretch of the imagination. All realms of possibility lie within your ears, in between your ears. And so you can conduct a whole other existence in your mind, and it can be running things in the external world. And if you want to change that, if you want to understand why this world may be reflecting something that you don't necessarily want, it's probably because it's like your mind's like an iceberg, in the sense that your conscious mind is the tiny little tip of the iceberg, but your subconscious mind is the big, big, big mass at the bottom. And that big, big, big mass at the bottom is full of everything you've ever heard, everything you've ever seen, whether your conscious mind was aware of it or not. Your subconscious mind hears, sees, feels, remembers everything, and it stores it there. And it waits for an opportunity to use the information that it's collected. And so if you're not even aware of what path you're on, then it can just throw any random shit that you didn't even remember why this feeling's coming up, why this thing's been triggered. And before you know it, you're in a mess. So what you want to do is take that intangible, non-physical world, and you want to map it out. You want to put it on paper, you want to write it down. If you're feeling something, Get it out of your mind. If you are battling with something in your mind, make it physical. Bring it into the world so that it is something that you can look at, you can see it, you can decide whether you like it or not. You can be like, yeah, I want to keep it, put it on your wall, or you can rip it up and burn it. I also, just because it's me, really want to just suggest as well that you follow the cycles of the moon. After a full moon, when the moon is getting smaller, it's called waning. And that is a time for you to, I don't even know if this is a fucking word, but we'll go with the word physicalize. Make visible your non-physical, your intangible thoughts and feelings onto a piece of paper. And then as it's waning and it gets to the new moon where there's no moon, you want to burn it. And on that same new moon day, with everything that you do want, you want to write it down. And as the moon is growing again, the things that you've written down, every day that the moon gets bigger, you want to be looking at it. When it's the full moon again, you bury it. For me, I like to rip it into bits and just put it under the top layer of soil of my houseplants. And I grow these things. So I tell my younger self that. What else?
Do you have any advice for people who aren't struggling to confront their what they're feeling? So what you were saying there was about sitting with these feelings. What if people don't know what they're feeling? How do they address, or how do they come face to face with what they're truly feeling? Because I think that in Western culture is a really big problem.
Yeah,
people coming face to face with their true.
Welcome
true
to Klara from 2012 to 2016. Yeah, I mean that's a big problem. I've got you to thank for that for a large part. You gave me my heart back.
No.
You reminded me that I had one. Okay, I'm going to make that a quick question. I'm going to say, you need to inspect, again, your thoughts, your mind, your feelings. But you need to, every single time you think you've got an answer, you need to check who it is that you're asking, who you're answering it for. And essentially, you need to think to yourself, am I saying this because I want to appear this way? Am I saying this because I think my mum wants me to say this? Am I saying this because I want this person to like me? You know what I'm going to ask myself? Do you know what I'm going to tell 7-year-old Klara? Actually, let's double that. Let's make it 14-year-old Klara. Even 14 to 18-year-old Klara, what would I tell her? Everything that you think is really, really fucking serious now, everything which is making you feel like, this person, like, for me personally, the person who really, 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 I would never forget the feeling of when I had my first girlfriend, so Melody. Well done,
Shout out,
Melody.
Shout out. She came to our engagement.
Oh, no, darling.
Did she not?
No.
She wasn't one of them.
No. Who are you thinking of?
One of the other exes. Misha.
Oh, Misha. Oh, no.
Yeah, sorry about that.
She was much later.
Yeah.
But no, Melody was the first person who I literally was like, my life can't exist without this person. And it's insane. Like, I used to like walk the streets at night, like listening to depressing music, like in the pouring rain, like crying, like.
I love it. It's so intense and extra.
So extra. My life is like
such an emo.
No, really. Everything is not as serious as you currently think it is in regards to love, relationships, all that kind of thing. Trust me, the person that you're with now, you're almost definitely not going to be with when you're, even like 25. Like, you need to wait until you've exited your like pubescent years to know really the type of partner that you are and that you're going to be with. What I wish that I could have told myself back then was work on your sense of identity. fuck off with the internet. Oh my god, if I could remove MSN, like anyone, you remember MSN?
ASL, babe, ASL.
ASL, babe. Yo, ASL.
Yo, babe, ASL.
Get off the internet.
And when you 11, have it large, 69.
Have it large.
Yeah,
and then I
exactly.
moved on. Okay, then I went into my emo phase, and then it was Bring Clara the Horizon, one that I still have that to this day. And there was, I know, yeah, Bring Me the Horizon. Yeah. Thanks, Bring Me the Horizon. Realise that you are more than your appearance. That's a big one, man.
You still now?
Yeah. That's still something that
Either put
They
no
still
value on or
see.
too much value on. You don't know how to do it around.
I'm like, meh.
So you don't, because you work in
I
extremes
just
that way.
don't care. And then I suddenly realise I have to care. Yeah, I just say, take pride in your appearance, but remember, it means very little. In the sense of like, your worth and value, you really, really have to focus on not placing your worth and your value in the way that you look, because not only can it and will it change in a way that you won't like, but
Not sustainable.
apart from the obvious that it's so superficial, if someone compliments you on the way that you look, you didn't do anything for that.
Yeah, right.
That wasn't
Mum
you.
and Dad did all the work,
It was your
mate.
mum and your dad. Make sure that you're spending most of your time taking care of the parts of you which are not visible.
What advice would you give 13, 14-year-old Klara on sexuality? What changes, what advice, what questions or what answers or what changes would you have for 13, 14-year-old Klara regarding her sexuality?
Well, apart from the fact that I didn't believe that the female orgasm was a thing until I was 16 years old, I thought it was a myth. It says a lot about my
You sound like a convent
ex-boyfriends.
woman.
I didn't really see sex as something that I should go after, and so I thought that the female orgasm was a myth until I was 16, and I had my first serious boyfriend, and I soon discovered it wasn't a myth. But I can say without any fucking shadow of a doubt, if you are a young person, particularly a male, I want you to go onto YouTube, I want you to type in the word TED Talk and porn, and I want you to watch the
Great Porn Experiment.
the video that's called The Great Porn Experiment,
And Why I Stopped Watching
and the one that is called Why I Stopped Watching Porn.
By Rand Gavreili.
By who?
Rand Gavreili.
There you go. These are two extremely important videos. This is actually a whole different video.
Yeah, I was going to say, stay tuned for a video on...
We'll talk about porn tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll talk about porn tomorrow. Okay. Alright, well, maybe we'll do a part 2 to this.
Yeah. I'll join
Thanks for watching, and you should do the whole like and subscribe thing if you liked it, and if you want to subscribe. We're gonna go eat food now, right?
Big souls.
I think so as well.
Lord.
But as always, I love you guys so much, each and every one of you, and I really want you guys to take care of yourself and to hold yourself with such high esteem and importance, because that's exactly what you are. You are important, and no matter your reasons for believing otherwise, that is the case, and I want you to carry that with you and remember that, because nothing is more important than you remembering that. And I don't care if you think I'm wrong. Every single one of you watching this is important. Every single one of you watching this is worthy of your love first and foremost, but also of my love, and so I hope that you feel it.
And my love.
And Staz's love. We love you, doesn't matter what you've done. I don't care what your history is. If it was bad, you're probably just trying to cover up for pain, and I understand.
To us.
I understand. And you're not blamed, you are forgiven. You are forgiven. You just have to forgive yourself. I believe that there is something higher. You can call it God, Buddha, Allah, well, it doesn't matter. There is something higher than all of us who loves us in ways that you, if you don't believe in something higher, you can't imagine right now. Trust me, I was the biggest atheist.
Yep.
Biggest atheist in the game. And I'm going to make a couple of videos just with ways to prove to yourself that there is something which really, really loves you and wants the best for you, whether you believe it or see it or not right now. But this ending is just for me to tell you that there is something out there that loves you fucking regardless. It just wants you to keep going. It just wants you to keep trying. And so do I. Let's be vulnerable. Let's be open. If you have something that you are struggling with, comment it below if you feel safe to. And I want everyone else who's reading these comments to go into the comments, and I want you to help each other. I want you to offer support to each other. If there's anybody who is feeling like they can't talk about something in their life in person, write it below. Even if it's from an anonymous account, get it out and talk about it. And if you're reading it, help the person out. Give them advice, and I will chime in as much as I possibly can. Alright? Because a problem shared is a problem halved and quartered and eighths and 16th and 32'd and all of that shit. Right?
That's a reminder that you're not alone.
You're not alone. You're not alone. You were never alone, and you never will be alone. Not as long as we're in the world. You may feel it, but you're not. And I want this video to help you prove that yourself, right? Yeah? Alright. Peace. See you later.